Hello, everyone. Welcome to Laser Focus. This is the deep dive pop culture podcast from Nerdist. I'm Kyle Anderson. Thank you so much for listening and indeed watching. Folks, I'm very excited today to be joined by somebody of whom I've been a fan for quite a while. You might know him from the Sarah Silverman program, also from New Girl, where he played Outside Dave, which is one of the best characters ever. And since 2021, you know him as John Economos in literally all the DC things, including this season of Peacemaker. Welcome, please, to the show, Steve Agee. Hello, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kyle Anderson. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Um, how is your how? I mean, Peacemaker has obviously been, consuming your whole life. It
Yeah,
seems. How's it been knowing that it's out and it's as we record this and actually as it goes out there will be the one episode left. Are you surprised or excited or whatever by the kind of response this season's getting?
a little surprised, honestly. I mean, we were well received season one, um, but it was a new show. People didn't really know a lot about it, so there wasn't a lot of expectation. This season, it's been absolutely insane. The feedback been getting. Comic-Con was out of control this year. So much Peacemaker heavy stuff to do. Yeah, it's been awesome. Good summer.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a question. So obviously you and James Gunn and Jennifer Holland are the constant hosts of the Peacemaker podcast, which is
Mhm.
when did you film all that? Because obviously they're like over an hour a piece each one.
We did that like a week or two. Well, God, maybe actually, I think end of like late June.
Oh, okay.
James was getting ready to go on a Superman press tour. So we had 1 week and we recorded them all 16 of them. And I think we redid. So 17
Oh my gosh.
hour-ish long podcasts in 6 or 7 days. It was a lot. I'd ideally like to do, one a day,
Sure.
one a day, like
That's
one a
about
week, maybe.
right.
But it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, I've been enjoying him a lot. Watching your own show, both seasons, because I'm assuming you rewatched most of the episodes before you recorded those things. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
uh, like, is that a lot of you talking about your own stuff? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's
is that?
weird.
Did you get
I
tired of it?
don't. I honestly don't like watching myself.
Sure.
Um, I do love the show. I think the show's really fun. So I like watching it initially, like one time. So I liked watching it, in preparation and rewatching the episodes from season one leading up to the podcast. Um, uh, but yeah, I don't like to keep watching because I see mistakes that I've made and stuff I could have done better. What I really love though is after our episodes drop on Thursday, like literally within an hour. And then for the next day or so on YouTube, people are posting reaction videos with theories and Easter eggs. I find that stuff fascinating because I don't really have to watch myself. I can just hear people theorizing on, who's going to die or who's going to make a cameo. And it's really funny seeing some of the people's predictions.
That's a lot of fun. Yeah, I do the same thing. I mean, about Peacemaker, but about all sorts of other things, and obviously
Yeah.
we make some of those videos ourselves. But
Yeah.
um, I was sort of like, I won't say surprised, but like uh, when it ended up being that the other universe in season two is what in the comics we call Earth X, but like the
Yeah.
Nazi world.
Yeah.
People online pretty felt like they hit on that really quick. Were you
Real
surprised at
quick.
how quickly people started to clock that?
I was super surprised. Um, it's funny because we got scripts for the episodes, and nowhere in the scripts does it say, P.S. Everybody in the background in this town is white.
Right.
So while I'm reading the first 5 scripts, I have no idea that this is Earth X. It really does seem like I'm experiencing it the way Peacemaker is. I'm thinking, wow, his dad is loving and nice, and his brother is great, and Harcourt loves him in this world. I'm like, wow, this really does seem like the perfect world. And then when I read, I think it's 6 where it's revealed, I didn't see it coming because I didn't have the luxury of seeing background actors, in this town. Um, but yeah, people really picked up on it quick.
I mean, I'll admit to my own biases or whatever, but I don't really pay attention to the background that often when I
Sure,
watch
I don't
stuff.
either.
So I didn't even notice.
But with a
Um,
show like this, with a lot of superhero shows, people are really like, they'll watch it and then they'll go back and they'll be like freeze framing
yeah.
shit. Like, what's that poster in the background? And people are really paying attention to a lot of like stuff in these in these episodes.
Um, you have some of my favorite lines and line deliveries of anybody this season. Obviously, you've talked about you and Tim Meadows, who just I think were so funny in those. What is that,
Oh,
episode 2 and 3 or something like
thanks.
that?
Yeah, too.
Really, really funny. But so my favorite line that you say to Tim Meadows is when he talks about the duck. You hit a super, and he's like, and you say. He doesn't have a superpowered duck. He has a normal eagle, which is a regular eagle. One of my favorite lines. But
Yeah,
then in episode 7, when
it's
Eagly
not a
brings you
normal
the piece
eagle.
of string, is so funny to me. Like, you think I wanted a piece of string? I cackled. I generally had to pause it because I was laughing so
It's
hard. It's one
crazy.
of the
Yeah, it's
best.
crazy because like 2 episodes earlier, Eagly is revealed to be the prime eagle, like the primal eagle. Like he really is a gifted, powerful, mystical eagle. And then this idiot brings me a string. Like
And then
it's
just leaves it at
bizarre.
your feet. It's like, what are you gonna do with it? Like, it's such a silly bit. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I do
Um,
too.
You spent a lot of the last episode tied to a chair, and you talked about on the Peacemaker podcast that that was like hell for you because of claustrophobia and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Um, what do you do in situations like that where you know that's going to be like not only just your day, but like maybe several days, and
I
that is something that you find uncomfortable. Like, how do you kind of
I mean,
rise up?
I dread it no matter what. I'm reading it and I'm going, "Oh, I'm tired." But oddly, I don't in the script. Yeah, I'm thinking back. In the script, it doesn't say that the chair gets tipped over
Mm.
when Vigilante comes through the window and everything goes crazy. It doesn't say the chair gets knocked over. That's like a director's note, of like, okay, we'll have him get knocked over and they'll drag him around. Um, so I had the additional issues of I have chronic vestibular migraines which cause vertigo. So for me, laying flat on my back is next to impossible without the room spinning. And like that was just that was really I could sit in the chair and like I could do deep breathing stuff and be fine. It was the once the chair was leaned back and I'm tied down, that was really stressful. Luckily I have a great stunt double, Casey, who was like, look, anytime your character is in the shot and we don't see your face, I'll do that. And so he's a stunt
Mm.
guy, but he's for this episode he's literally sitting strapped to a chair because he
The
doesn't
easiest
get
stunts he's ever
vertigo.
had to do.
Yeah.
So this is, I can't sleep on my back either, but not for those reasons. Like, how do you sleep? Like,
Even if my head is just tilted, a pillow is fine. A pillow makes it fine.
oh wow, okay,
But I'm in this chair. And in fact, because the back is off the ground, my head is even tilted further back. Um, so that was difficult. Yeah, I don't have to sleep super propped up.
oh, okay,
Um, just not completely flat. So like, yeah, even just a pillow makes a difference.
wow. Oh well. Um, One of you sort of obviously, like I mentioned earlier, you've gotten to play John Economos so many times at this point, like,
Yeah.
either little cameos or whatever. You're a cartoon character. You have
Yeah, yeah,
creature commandos behind you.
right there.
Um, what, you know, obviously nobody kind of expects that they're going to be like one of the major recurring characters in a new universe, but what have you
No.
sort of learned through going to all these different productions and like about the character? Obviously, you've spent huge amounts of time in Peacemaker as John Economos. Like what what changed? What has changed? What have you brought to the character from the original that you kind of are that's making it more like you that you can live in? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first time we see John Economos is in the Suicide Squad, and it's, I most of my work in Suicide Squad, honestly, was as King Shark doing the
Oh yeah,
stand-in,
of course.
doing the motion capture or motion reference for King Shark. Um, in fact, I think I worked more days on that movie than even Idris or Margot. But it was because I was doing Economos and
Right.
King Shark, but it was the majority was King Shark. My stuff as Economist, we did at the beginning of the season. We did a week at the beginning of the season and a week at the end because of Viola's schedule. Um, so, and it was, he was like a tech guy in a communication hub and, you know, had a funny line here or there, but he wasn't like a fleshed out character. There was no like backstory or anything. Really the only thing about him from the comic books is in the comics he's the warden of Belle Reve Prison,
Mm.
and the only other info I could get on him in the comic books was that he's been divorced like 3 times. Uh, and
What an odd thing to put in. I guess
it
what a
is
loser,
weird.
I guess is what we're supposed to believe from that.
But John Ostrander, who created the Suicide Squad, visited the set a couple times, and I got to meet him. James introduced us, and he's like, "John, this is Steve. He's playing John Economos." And John Ostrander looked at me. He's like, "Oh wow, you look kind of like the real John Economos that I based him on." And James and I were both like, "Wait, there's a real John Economos?" And he's like, "Yeah, he was a friend of his who I think was either a business partner or like a business manager or something who he knew from back in the Chicago days." Um, but yeah, we didn't have a lot of info. He was a very minor character in the movie, so there wasn't a lot to worry about. Just show up and know your lines. And then, a year later, James is like, "We're gonna do uh, a series. I want to do a series with Cena's character, and I want Economos to be a much bigger part of this, as well as Harcourt." And that's when we really started digging into the character and his flaws and his mental health issues. And, clearly he's kind of on a spectrum in some way or another. And the first season was kind of a learning curve between me and Economist, but James really nailed Economist as far as like, he really is a lot like me. I'm not super adventurous. I'm a photographer by hobby and I like to go out, but in my 20s, I used to rock climb and do a lot of crazy stuff that now I would never dream of doing, just like economists would never dream of doing. Like he's kind of afraid of confrontation and dealing with people. He likes being at a desk on a computer or in, a van on a computer. And so he's really having to come out of his comfort zone. And that's just so much like me in general. And I've known James for, almost 20 years. And, I think whether he's doing it consciously or subconsciously, he's really writing it very much in my voice. So this second season has been even, more complimentary to who I am. And, yeah, it's been amazing watching this character, you know, become a lot deeper.
What I love so much about the character and your portrayal is that like he's angry all the time, but clearly that is coming from a place of, like you mentioned, fear. I think is really
Yeah,
that's pretty evident. But also like he's a narc, but clearly still wants to do the right thing, but is like, I do not want to get in trouble, which is very
yeah.
relatable.
Yes, dude, me too. Yes, same here. Um, yeah, and he was a loner, and then all the events of season 1 happen, and now he has friends, which is new to him, and I think he really loves that and cherishes that. But he also, you know, has his comfort zone and his routine, and he doesn't like to stray from it. So he's got his job, and he really has to kind of still do that because he doesn't know anything else. Um, and he's now walking this line of like, I have a job to do. And sadly, now that job is surveilling my friends, or friends specifically in Peacemaker. Um, but as I've told a few people, I think if it came down to it, his loyalty 100% would be with the 11th Street Kids.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, the fact that he continues to go with them all the time, I think that's kind
Yeah,
of like,
that says a lot about him.
yeah,
Like
like,
these people mean a lot to him. For him to go into another dimension,
right. Like
I
he'll
would
complain
never do
about
that.
it, but
If someone asked me if I wanted to go on one of those shuttles into space for 3 minutes, I don't think I could do that. It would
I won't
take a
even go to
lot.
the West Side to help my friend move. Like, you know what I mean?
Same,
Like,
I haven't been to Venice Beach in like 10 years.
yeah. What? Why would you go that way?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the camaraderie between all the characters, especially because Peacemaker is gone or away separate from the rest of you guys for so much of the time. I think it's really fun to see the four, I guess, including Freddy, like get along without Peacemaker, where he is the lead of the show. He's the concrete kind of like
Yeah.
central character, but like so much of that it's about him, but like it's all of you kind of trying to figure out ways to help him and things like that. Did you like spending all, having all those scenes with just, you and Danielle and Jen and Freddie, like in
Well, it's funny because even scenes with them didn't happen until later,
oh,
a
okay.
few episodes in. Like most of my scenes in the beginning are with Tim Meadows,
That's true.
which I was happy to do. I've known Tim for a number of years before. This is the first time we've gotten to work together, though. And they were really funny, well written scenes by James. And, you know, Tim is like a Second City alumni. He's really amazing at improvising. It's like the scene you see in episode 2, I think 2 or 3, of us in the van talking about the 2 women that he was with. That what you see in the regular episode is written by James. All the stuff in the extended scene was just me and Tim improvising, and it took a lot of tries because we were both laughing so much. But yeah, our characters do not all come together very often in this season. Um, the f- but the first thing we shot, the very first day of shooting for us, was episode 2, because James was still doing Superman. So Greg Matola did episode 2 and 3. We shot those first. And the first thing we shot was the scene where we're having the party on the roof. It was the first time that all of us had been together as a group since we shot the original
Oh wow.
season, and then we didn't shoot again as a group until 3 or 4 months later.
Gosh, yeah. Like, yeah, what is the like the per episode sort of like shoot, like what's the schedule generally like on an episode of
It's like
Peacemaker?
usually, I want to say like 6 days, 6 or 7 days,
Oh,
I
okay.
think. Weekends off, but yeah, I think that's pretty standard. When we did season 1, the finale, we shot, I mean, think we were shooting like 6 days, 6 or 7 days. The finale, we shot like 10 or 11 days, mainly because most of it was at night and we were in Canada. And so we had really short nights. Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
wouldn't be like totally dark until 10 p.m. And then you start going. And then by 3 o'clock in the morning, you can hear the birds and you can see the horizon getting light at like between 3 and 4 in the morning. So we had to add more days/nights just to get everything we wanted to shoot.
James has mentioned that he likes shooting at night. Do you enjoy shooting at night?
I do. I love
Okay.
it. It's a little tougher now that I'm older. I definitely feel it. And also, I have a lot of problems sleeping during the day. Even if I have blackout curtains, my brain just knows that it's daytime
Yeah.
and it's really hard. So, if it's only a few days an episode, I love doing it. Because I still will have a lot of energy at night. I'm just kind of like feel like a kid at a slumber
Right.
party or something. It's really fun. I
Especially
like
if it's
shooting at night.
if it's like part of it's your job. Okay, like you got to go do this and all that. Like, but I hit a point 2:30 in the morning, and if I'm awake, I am angry. If I'm still awake at 2:30, like if or at least I'm
Yeah,
not in bed. You know what I mean? Like it's a
there's a
really
thing called splits where if you're going to be shooting for some nights, but you're currently shooting days, they can't just do it like on a day's notice. Like you can't shoot from like 7 in the morning to like 8 p.m. and then the next day shoot a night. They have to split the difference with one day in between. So, you know, you'll shoot a bunch of days like 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. or something. And then the next day you'll have a call time of like noon, 12 or 1, and you'll shoot to like 9 or 10 p.m. Those are the best days.
oh yeah.
Um, and that's just to get you ready for the next couple nights, which are showing up at 8 or 9 p.m. and shooting till like 8 or 9 in the morning.
The very few film sets that I've gotten to be on and that have been night shoots, like it feels so weird to be like people. You guys are all still active. Like it just weirds me out because I am such a daytime person.
Yeah, there's like 200 people walking around a set like
Yeah,
wide awake.
and they're
Um,
being loud. That's a weird thing too. Where
yeah,
like
they're
it's
playing
like
music.
what are you doing? It's nighttime. You need to be quiet.
And
Like
there's a PA comes up to you a couple hours into shooting and they're like, "Hey, we're taking orders for lunch." And you're like, "It's 11 p.m. right now."
yeah.
But it's fine. The only time it becomes a bummer is if, you have to be like wet or in the
Oh
water.
sure.
That's that's a bit of a bummer, weather depending as well. Like season 1, early in the season where we're outside, when the first time we see Judo Master, he's like a bodyguard for this senator or whatever, who him and his whole family are turn out to be butterflies. We're like outside this mansion, and those were our first night. Well, no, those were my first night shoots, and it was snowing, and
Mm.
that was pretty miserable. The scene where I rammed Judo Master as he's trying to get away, and then I beat him with a tire iron. It was like 32 degrees. Um, and then I would get sweaty doing it because I'm wearing layers, and I had like my first real asthma attack while we were doing
Oh
that because I
gosh.
was just like, the car is on fake fire, so there's a lot of steam/smoke in the air, like fake smoke, and that mixed with my you know hot and cold. I just had like a really bad asthma attack.
What part of the country did you grow up in?
Not far from LA,
Oh,
in
okay.
Riverside, California, the
Very
Inland
nice.
Empire. Yeah.
Um, I grew up in Colorado, and so I was going to ask you if you had to deal with snow and stuff for much as a kid. But like that was walking to and from school when it was like 30 degrees outside. You get sweaty because you're wearing so many layers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's miserable. So
That's when you
I didn't
get
even have to hit anybody with a tire iron. So
that's when you get pneumonia. I
yeah,
I went to school for 2 years in Pennsylvania. It's a long story, but I got kicked out of high school and my parents sent me to military school, much like an 80s teen comedy.
yeah.
In fact, it was the school where they filmed the movie Taps with like Sean Penn and
Is that why they picked it? Is it
Timothy Hunt.
we're going to the
No, it
tap
was
school? Gotta go to the tap school?
just randomly. And by the way, this was the 80s. Like when I went to school there, they had just shot Taps like 3 years earlier.
Yeah.
And it was my first time living and going to school on the East Coast. And this is Valley Forge Military Academy. It's right next to Valley Forge, where Washington and his soldiers like battled a horrific winter fighting the British. And like it was, I remember having to do track. I was on the track team, and just having practice when it was like 35 degrees and getting all sweaty, and then warming up, and then get like I got pneumonia when I was like 17, like
Ugh.
just from the hot, going hot and sweaty and then going out in the cold. It was rough.
I was pretty old when I realized that not everybody got pneumonia all the time because we just got it so frequently when I was a kid. I was like basically lived on penicillin.
It was crazy too. Pneumonia is so bizarre because I had it when I was 17 and it just felt like the flu or something. I took antibiotics, and I got to miss, all the weird military stuff, like, marching around and stuff, because I had pneumonia. And so I like got to lay in the infirmary and watch TV for a week. And it wasn't that bad, it was like the flu. And then as you get older, it's like the thought of pneumonia now terrifies me, because I'm 56 and I'm like, oh, that could really put me in intensive care.
Right.
The
Yeah.
older I get, the more dangerous that becomes.
Just being alive.
Hmm. Your
Uh,
listeners can all tell that I am a major hypochondriac.
the listeners to this show know that I am as well, so
Yeah.
you're in good company.
Okay, good.
um, what are when you were a kid? What were your kind of go-to pop culture-y things? What did you grow up loving?
TV. I was the kid that would come home from school and just go right to the TV, get, a big bowl of cereal and watch TV. Like I love TV. I was a TV addict. Um, and oddly, I was really into really adult stuff. Like I love my favorite show. And the reason I wanted to and eventually became an actor was Three's Company. Um, John Ritter was my idol as a child. I thought that dude was the funniest human I had ever seen on a show. It was Three's Company, so it's very adult humor.
Yeah.
A lot of sexual innuendos, which I didn't get as like a 10-year-old. But my parents used to laugh so much, and I was like, wow, this dude's got it figured out. He was so funny. He kind of reminded me of my older brother, and I just wanted to be John Ritter. I wanted to be an actor. And I didn't know that it was even an option. I thought people were kind of born, and my dad was a doctor. I was like, I guess I'm going to go into medicine somehow. And
Yeah.
even though I was adopted, and nobody in my adopted family was artistic. My aunt could draw. My aunt's a really good artist, but like nobody else was into the arts. They were all just like very critical thinking. They came from that world. I was just a goof off. I was horrible in school. And it's just incredible how, despite your upbringing, I'm really part of the nature as opposed to nurture. I still managed to find my way to where I am today, just growing up as far away from it as a person could.
Mm. Did you ever get a chance to meet John Ritter?
No, I am friends with his son. I'm good friends with him, and yeah, and it's funny too, because the older I got, and the more familiar with John Ritter's work and his later work, and he's so funny and stuff like Bad Santa, but
Mm.
also an incredible actor, like dramatic actor. It just made me appreciate him more, and just everything I would hear about him was nothing but positive. And Jason, that apple did not fall far from the tree. He's an amazing person, very funny, cool guy. Yeah, I'm really bummed I never got to meet John.
Um, my wife just recently watched Buffy from start to finish. I don't think she'd ever
Yeah,
watched it
yeah,
all. And John Ritter is in that really, I don't know if you remember, but like he was in a great episode of Buffy where he plays a robotic like
I don't
sitcom dad. Like he
I
seems
don't
like
know
a
that. That's amazing.
yeah, he's an evil robot who is like dating Buffy's mom in one of the seasons, and it's
Wow.
such a funny episode and scary because he's really good at like there's at one point when he has like half his face torn off and you could see like the
Yeah,
Terminator skull underneath and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
It's just like that's John Ritter. Like, um,
yeah. I was obsessed with that, and also, somebody when I was young bought me either for Christmas or my birthday a transistor radio, just literally the size of my iPhone, and it had a mono plug. So not even like, stereo earplugs, just one earbud that so you could listen with one ear. And every Sunday night I would listen to Dr. Demento
mm,
syndicated on uh 94.7 here in Southern California. And that's how I found out about most of the comedy that I grew up loving. Weird Al, first time I heard him was on Dr. Demento. God bless Dr. Demento for providing like musical comedy, sketch comedy, stand-up comedy, anything having to do with comedy. Dr. Demento played it on his show. I was exposed to so much as a 10-year-old. The first album I ever bought with my own money, I was 11, and I bought a George Carlin album,
ooh,
A Place for My Stuff. I had it memorized just from Dr. Demento, and it was a cassette. I wore it out. Um, and George Carlin made me want to be a stand-up comedian.
mm.
John Ritter made me want to be an actor, and I've done both. I do both. I act more, obviously. It takes up more of my time, but I still occasionally do stand-up.
That's yeah, and it's amazing like how stuff like that. And have you gone back and listened to some of those albums that you had memorized and stuff like that? Like as a grown up, do you still have those
Yes, and
things memorized? Yeah.
it's insane. If you A Place for My Stuff is weird because it's not just a stand-up album, it's a sketch album. There's a lot of sketches in between the kind of like a Cheech and Chong album. Um, And it's weird. I can go 10 years without hearing that album, and the second it comes on, like, I have it in a playlist. The second it comes on, I know every word. Like, I can say every joke with his timing, his rhythm, his, inflection. I loved George Carlin more than, and again, never got to meet him. I've met his daughter, Kelly. She's delightful, wonderful human being.
You just meet the children of all your idols.
I know a lot of my idols' children, yeah.
Besides Three's Company, what were some of your other favorite shows? Were you into like the because that was the time when all the action shows were on TV, like Magnum PI and the A Team and stuff like that. Were you into those
A-Team,
kind of things?
loved the A-Team, loved, Simon and Simon,
Sure.
Magnum PI. I don't know if you remember this from, like, probably 10, 15 years ago. Paul Rudd and Adam Scott used to remake the opening credits from some of their favorite shows from the '80s,
Yeah.
like Bosom Buddies and like shot for shot.
Yeah.
You can look that stuff up on YouTube. I think they're under the title "The Greatest Event in Television History." Some of the funniest shit and most well done that it's funny because I have a friend, Scott Chernoff, who's also a huge Three's Company fan. In fact, for my birthday one year, probably like 20 years ago or even more, he bought me, he got on eBay a ticket to go see a ticket from the '70s of Three's Company to go to ABC and see Three's. It was framed. I still have it somewhere. It was like one of my most valued possessions. But Scott and I wanted to. We had an idea, like, because Scott's really into pop culture stuff too, and he was like, "We should just for the hell of it remake the Bosom Buddies opening thing because a lot of it's shot in LA. And we talked about it for years and years, and it was all talk. And then Adam and Paul did it. And I called Scott and I was like, well, that dream just died because they did it incredibly.
Those were so funny, and like, because you can find them on YouTube, like you said, like also just side by side with the original. I think that they also did the heart to heart one, which is a funny one with
Yep.
yeah, that
And
one's
Too Close for Comfort, I
yeah.
think.
I think
Ted
that which
Knight.
is that was a show I barely knew about because
Oh.
I was of the 80s, but I was born in 84, so like I was
Oh, yeah, yeah.
so it was a bit I was whatever, doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Direction. um I do know who Jim J. Bullock is only from Hollywood Squares.
Oh my god. Yeah, that dude was a superstar
Yeah.
in the '80s because of Too Close for Comfort. He was like the Sean Hayes of, like, the '80s, like, huge. Everybody loved him.
Yeah, and he was on I remember him just being on every game show when I was a kid because I was, that was early
Of
90s is
course.
when I was home a lot, sick with
Yeah,
pneumonia, and so
yeah.
I'd watch a bunch of game shows. Um, yeah, that's, uh do you have is it kind of TV still to this day? Is that where you're kind of like that's your, like, comfort stuff is watching TV?
It's media in general. I
Just in
mean,
general?
I have such a soft spot in my heart for the John Hughes movies,
Mm,
especially the teen related, 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller, Weird Science, Breakfast Club. Those four specifically, I've probably have seen more than any movies ever. Like I've seen those movies too many times to count. Like because I was that same age.
right.
I remember with Ferris Bueller, I remember the movie theater I was at. I remember who I went to the movies with. I remember where in the theater I was sitting. That movie stuck with me so hard.
Um, are you this is October as we record this. Are you a horror guy? Do you enjoy horror movies and horror media?
Love, 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 love horror movies. Yeah.
Are there horror movies you watch every year, or you kind of just like see what's
Yeah, I mean, it's the usual hits: Exorcist,
mm,
Rosemary's Baby, Friday the 13th, Halloween, obviously. Um, the ones I kind of grew up with. But there's great ones, now too. Like I mean, it's so funny because horror is just it's it's simultaneously evolving but then also just staying the same. Like, there's nothing better than a good jump scare.
yeah,
You had that in the movies in the '70s, you have it in the movies today. I'm trying to think. I think the last thing I saw was Weapons. Um,
incredible. Still, that might be
incredible.
my favorite movie of the year, Superman notwithstanding, of course.
I didn't know it was like really a horror comedy. Like
Yeah.
there's people kept saying I was way late to seeing it, but people kept talking about how funny it was, and I was like, "Are you? What are you talking about? Like that? The trailer is terrifying."
That w
It was funny.
that is a lost art, I think, especially, like, if you watch, like, compilations of '70s horror trailers, like, some of that stuff is scarier than, you know, actually
Oh,
finally watching the movie, like, the
uh,
trailer infamously, the trailer for that movie Magic with Anthony Hopkins is, like, one of the
yeah.
scariest things you've ever seen.
I saw the trailer for The Shining. What year was The Shining?
80.
80. So I was 11, and I remember seeing the trailer. I I walked into my parents' bedroom. They had a TV in their bedroom, and I forget what they were watching, but that trailer came on. It was pretty late at night, and I could not sleep. It scared the living shit out of me. And it wasn't the teaser that was in like theaters and stuff where it was like the elevators opening
Right.
and just the lobby filling with blood. It was like, the little kid being chased by Jack Nicholson with an axe. And I was like, there's this happens in movie. I remember thinking like, this is in movies? Like what? I thought everything was a comedy.
I was a scaredy cat. I now love horror and it's like my favorite thing in the world, but like
Yeah,
it took a really long time and it was I used to watch stuff on TV because I knew it would be edited and therefore less scary.
yeah.
So like um but I remember like holding off on watching both The Shining and The Exorcist, and I think I watched them the same year when I was finally in college. And I gotta say, I think The Exorcist is a better movie, but I think The Shining scares me more than The Exorcist.
100%. I also remember seeing Exorcist 2 and thinking it was hot
Oh
garbage.
yeah.
And so I never saw The Exorcist 3. And it wasn't till like 10 years ago that a friend of mine was like, Exorcist 3 is really good and has one of the scariest scenes in a like a jump scare, terrifying scene in a movie that comes out of nowhere. He's like, "You got to come to my house." We watched it. It's a scene in like a hospital,
Yeah.
and it's a locked off one shot from like really far down a hall, and it goes on for forever. So you get really calm, and there's no scary music, and it happens. Seeing it to this day, even knowing it's coming,
Yeah.
scares the shit out of me.
I always forget how long it goes on. Like, you know it goes
Minutes.
on forever, but it
Yeah.
somehow goes on even longer than that.
Yeah.
Like, it's really
Yeah.
incredible. I love that William Peter Blatty directed that himself. Like, he directed that and he directed this other movie, The Ninth Configuration, yeah, which he also wrote. And it's just like, this guy should have directed more movies because, man, he had you
Yeah.
know, the skill.
Yeah, for sure.
I do agree that Exorcist 2 is hot garbage.
It
Um,
sucks.
what it's just Richard Burton saying Pazuzu a million times is
Oh,
not scary.
no, not at all.
What are your favorite horror sequels I mean, other than Exorcist 3? Do you have, these
Oh,
long
man. I mean, I love well, Friday the 13th Part 2
Yeah, really
is
good.
scarier than the first one. It's the first one, it's not even Jason, and Friday the 13th Part 2 is probably my favorite, and it's before I don't know what happened with horror movies just never ending and like we're going to go down a crazy route where Jason goes to Manhattan and he's
Yeah.
died a million times and I'm like I would have been good with just like the first two, even the third Friday the 13th. I saw that in the theater in 3D. Like I saw Friday the 13th with 3D glasses and it was awesome.
With the scene where the guy, I think he gets like an arrow through his head
Yep.
and the eyeball pops out.
Comes right at the screen.
It's
It is
so good.
so good.
I
I saw like three movies in with 3D glasses on as a kid. One was Jaws 3D, and the other one was a movie with Molly Ringwald,
oh, Space
Forbidden
Hunter, I think is what it's
Space
called.
Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
That's right. Yes.
I saw that in 3D, and even if a movie's shit, it's really good in 3D.
Yeah, there's another movie that uh they put out on Blu-ray with 3D glasses that you could put on, and it was
Yeah.
called Metal Storm, I think, and it's just
Yes. Yeah.
and it's like 65 minutes long. It's like such a short movie, and yet the 3D and it's just like a delight.
What a great technology.
I kind of miss super gimmicky movies like that. Like,
I do too.
I think every third movie should be in 3D, but still have
Yeah.
the red and blue glasses.
Yeah, yeah.
We're telling Hollywood right now. Um,
Get your shit together, execs.
yeah. Um, Before I let you go, thank you again for being on the show.
Yeah.
This will come out before the finale of Peacemaker. Obviously, we don't want to give it away. I haven't seen it, so I don't know what's going to happen. But
I've
is there
seen it.
anything you can like tease? What can people look forward to with the finale?
The only thing I guess I can really tease is, boy,
We know there's a bunch of different doors opening. We saw that
yes, you
in the
definitely.
promo.
That's no secret. We see some other worlds. Um, I can tell you the end credit, like the post credit scene, is one that I am featured in,
Okay.
and the post credit scene is highly. There's a big improvisational element to it.
Okay.
It's one of the the most fun times I've had on a set. It was really fun. I've not laughed that hard shooting a scene since the thing I did with Tim Meadows, but yeah, it was so much fun. It's that whole episode's amazing.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. Do you tell me this? Do you yell "economist motherfucker" in that episode? Because you haven't all season, and I've really missed it.
I don't think I do yell
Okay,
it.
that
I
should
don't
be
remember
your
yelling it.
once a season. You shout it. You're
Yeah,
just going
I
from
agree.
now on. But anyway,
I agree.
um, Steve, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Do you have any other things to plug? Do you have a social media that you want to plug?
Yeah, you can always follow me. Pretty much only post on Instagram. It's at Steve Agee, all one word. Threads occasionally. I'll get involved. James likes to rewatch the show a few days later after it comes out on Threads and kind of give like behind the scenes stuff. I join in sometimes. And it's the same at Steve Agee. I have an episode of Abbott Elementary that I just shot. I don't think that's going to be out for a while, but it'll be out at some point.
Very nice. Yeah. Again, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Really huge fan of Peacemaker and
Thank you.
of your performance. I think it's great. Thank you all for listening at home or wherever it is you're listening. You can follow me on Letterboxd is really the only place I am. Kyle_Anderson, where you can see all the weird Italian movies that I've been watching.
Nice.
Such as The Devil's Wedding Night. Features no devil, but it does feature Dracula, so that's fun. And yeah, thank you all for listening. Join me again next week on Laser Focus when my guest will be a different person. Bye-bye.
Kyle Anderson, motherfucker.
Woo! Oh man, that's gonna be my ringtone from now on. Laser Focus is a production of Nerdist Industries and Legendary Digital Networks. It was produced, edited, and hosted by me, Kyle Anderson. For more, visit Nerdist.com.